High fly ball into right field. She is gone. The impossible has happened.
There it goes, a long drive. If it stays fair, home run. Goodbye.
What? Oh, what a blow! What a way to top it off! He's asking the whole world.
Oh, that's music to my ears, Mike. You know, I remember every one of those and exactly where I was.
Isn't that scary? When we're kids, we hold on to those moments, and we remember everything. I can't remember what I did yesterday or 2 days ago.
Yeah, I forgot to pick up my kid from school yesterday, but that's bad.
That is bad, Mike.
Well, it is what it is, you know. Welcome to This Week in Fantasy Baseball here on the Fantasy Sports Network. I'm Mike Cardano along with Mike Demergitz, and we're just hours away from the start of Major League Baseball opening day in Australia, Mike. What do you think about that?
Australia. Baseball in Australia?
Yeah, me and baseball in Australia don't really mix. I don't know what they do.
Yeah, I'm not that crazy about
So then the Diamondbacks and the Dodgers go out there. They play 2 games, and then they everybody takes a week off, and then they go back to Arizona and finish the 3-game set there a week later.
It's very unorthodox. I don't like it. I know the players don't like it.
No, it's like a 15-hour plane ride.
I remember when the Yankees went to Japan in 2004. Kevin Brown, he was miserable.
Kevin Brown was always miserable.
It's miserable. They came back with a bug or a flu or something like that. 2004, 2005 season. I can't remember which one it was, but they don't like doing this. It's a lot of travel. They want to just start the season in front of their home fans.
That's crazy. And unless they have plans of putting Major League a team over there regularly, what's the point? And they're not going to do that.
Right.
So.
Exactly. And you know what when we have these World Cups and everything, they don't put the best pitchers out there anyway.
No.
So it's disappointment. Either you're going to do all the way.
Yeah.
Or don't even bother doing it.
All right. Well, one guy who's not going to be around for opening day is Aroldis Chapman. Did you see him get pelted in the face with that line drive yesterday?
Boy, it wasn't pretty, and it's never pretty when a pitcher gets hit with a ball coming back at you. You know, that's why they don't have aluminum bats in the pros. They have it in Little League. They have it in college, which I'm still surprised they use aluminum bats in college, but it's a cost matter. One of the scariest things, I'd rather get tackled by a linebacker that weighs 250 pounds than to get hit in the face with a baseball.
I don't even want to watch it. I mean, it's tough.
Scary, yeah. I mean, the worst I can remember in my lifetime is Bryce Fleury with the Red Sox. I mean, that was pretty horrific, and it's been known to happen for decades now. Herb Score, back, 50, 60 years ago.
They changed the heights of the mound, but they're not backing it up any.
No, and especially with pitchers who really don't protect themselves after the pitch. They don't have that form where they put the mitt up right in front of them. I remember Rich Gossage, a great reliever with the Yankees back in the 70s and 80s. He'd be all over the place.
He's like an octopus. He threw the ball, and then he ended up his back was to the batter.
And Chapman, when he throws the ball, he's falling off the mound to the right side and everything. So he's really not prepared for
whatever. Don't they used to teach when you were in Little League, throw and then get ready for the ball?
These pros are so good. They don't teach them technique anymore, Mike. They're too good for technique.
Self-defense.
I mean, think about Dave Winfield. Would you teach your kid how to swing like Dave Winfield?
No,
but you'd want the results.
No.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there you go.
All right. Well, I hope he's all right. I don't know what I'm going to do from a fantasy perspective now. I'm screwed because I had him for $5, so I would have to give him a $5 increase. I was going to protect him, so that's $10. And I don't think I want to protect him now. He's going to be out for at least 6 weeks, I think. And then even if he's fine from a health standpoint, everything heals, there's got to be, the first time you get back on that mound, some kind of a psychological thing.
There's a mental aspect to it. Yogi Berra used to say, 90% of the game is 80% mental? Something like that.
I don't know what he said, but...
Look, you become afraid. There's a mental aspect to the game. Players that have been hit with the baseballs by pitchers, you look at Alice Valentine, the great right fielder. Who
had a
rocket for an arm. Yeah. Frank Costanza played alongside...
Till they came to the Mets, and then I don't know what happened.
Andre Dawson and of course, Warren Cromartie.
It was a great outfield. Are there rock rains on that outfield?
Well, a little bit later on, after Valentine left, Valentine was a tremendous player with the Montreal Expos, but he got hit in the face, and later on he had that kind of like football helmet mask kind of thing, kind of covering the jaw. Paul Blair, another guy that got beamed, was a great hitter, and then all of a sudden he became a great platoon player. Was on the '78 Yankees too as well. But it affects you. It affects your mental approach, and is he going to follow through on his pitches? This is something you have to consider. You know what? Is he going to be the same player?
The combination with he's just not going to get as many save opportunities because he's going to be missing time for certain. Even if he does come back healthy, I got to throw him back in. Maybe I'll bid on him, but I just can't do it now. I just can't do it. I feel bad for him and for me.
I You're gonna have to look at second options there.
Jesus.
You're gonna have to go see.
Cardano screwed again every year before we start.
Screw you again, Cardano.
Last year it was Grinky. He got hurt playing basketball, broke his ribs. Everything. Every year it's something. All right. So what do we got? We got some other news going on here. Jimmy Rollins. Is Jimmy Rollins long for the Phillies? Is he going to play shortstop for the entire year? If he plays, I think it's 435 games. He gets vested. He's getting $11 million this year. They'll have to give him another $11 million next year. They're going to make him pay about 430 and then at bats. At bats, and then sit him. There's no way.
Ruben Amaro assured him yesterday that don't worry, we're not trading you. That means he's going to be traded.
Yeah. Well, no, he can't. He's got no trade.
He's got the 10-5.
Yeah.
So the idea thing is, though, the Mets could always use a guy that could put at second base. Jimmy Rollins would be nice at second base, But would he go? But he might just want to screw the Phillies and go to the Mets just like that. The Yankees could use a second baseman, so he's 34 years old. Might be time to make the transition.
They might be able to put him at shortstop, and between the two 90-year-olds they got there, they could have one good shortstop.
Well, let's face it about J-Roll. 2007 MVP, 30 home runs, 20 triples, 139 runs.
He was juicing. Come on.
94 RBIs. Okay.
Since you think that was clean? Honestly, do you think that was clean?
I think it was clean. Yeah. He didn't seem to have. He didn't have the Paul Bunyan kind of body.
His Jerry curls were tight.
Anyway, over the last 6 years, he has just 85 home runs and 6 home runs last year and 600 at bats. And he's hit just 20 home runs twice since that 2007 season. So, look, it might be time to move on.
Yeah, I cannot possibly see them getting themselves in a situation where they're going to pay him $11 million again next year. And I think it's 435 plate appearances or at bats that he has to get to. You know what I would do? I'm telling you, I know he wants to get the record too. Mike Schmidt has the record for games played.
That record doesn't.
He wants it. I would put his name in on the lineup card when he gets to the ballpark, and just before the game, I'd erase it just to
look,
give it to him.
The Phillies are trying to turn the boat here. They had a great run of it, making it to the World Series, had some great years, and now Ryan Sandberg takes over, and this is the difference. You have a dichotomy of personalities here. Jimmy Rollins is the nouveau kind of player. Hey, look at me, kind of like from when Deion Sanders started all that stuff in the late 80s and 90s. Look at me, I'm great. This is what I can do. And Ryan Sandberg went about his business. He did his job, and he didn't talk about it. He just did it. And to me, Ryan Sandberg was one of the great all-time second basemen of all time. He was a pre-Jeff Kent, post-Bobby Grich, the big guy who could play second base.
He was the Cal Ripken of the right side of the infield to me in terms of his style of play. A bigger middle infielder. You didn't really see them until those two guys came around.
Yeah, he's a quiet captain of those great Cubs teams, especially in '84 and '89, as they made a run through the playoffs and everything. So, Ryan Sandberg has a lot of respect. What the Cubs were thinking by letting him go and letting him go to the Phillies, I have no idea. Go with Mike Quad. It doesn't make any sense.
So, from a fantasy perspective, you don't think Rollins is going to be at that position the whole year? Forget about his performance. You don't even think he's going to get the full year's worth of opportunity.
You don't think Freddie Galvis is going to oust Jimmy Rollins from that position?
Well, they got problems there, but I don't. They're not going to get into a situation when they give him $11 million next year.
No, they're not. No, absolutely. This, hit the road, Jack. This is it. The 34 is the old 34. Yeah. Players 35, 36 are not going to get the contracts they were doing when these guys were juicing.
I think once it gets to a point where he sees they're not going to play him, he'll then accept a trade.
Doug Glanville, who played with both of them, had a great article on ESPN.com, and he just pointed out the difference in personality between Rollins being kind of like, hey, look at me guy, and Sandberg being the, get your nose to the grind kind of thing.
Oil and water,
yeah. Yeah, oil and water. It's not going to mix it. And Sandberg has to control things and put his print on this team.
Yeah.
So one of them's going to go, and it's not going to be Sandberg.
Yep. Yeah, well, he just got there.
And Jimmy Rollins isn't putting the numbers he once was, so it's going to be Jimmy that goes.
Yep. All right, let's move on. We got some more news. Matt Harvey earlier in the week.
Harvey?
Mets
your friend Harvey?
He tweeted out that there's going to be Harvey Day later on this year in New York, and suggesting that he's going to come back.
Well, the Met fans need a reason to go out to the park,
Yeah. I'm kind of, listen, I can take my kids. It'll be nice and cheap. You go out there in August and September. But, one, do you think he will try to come back? He's targeting August. And two, do you think they'll let him come back? Is that in the best interest of the organization? And three, Does he have any fantasy relevance? I would draft him maybe in a keeper league or something, but I can't imagine he's got any fantasy relevance, even if he comes back in August.
Okay, one, he wants to come back. I mean, he didn't even want to go for the surgery. Remember how long he kept putting you off?
Yeah, I want a lot of things too.
Two, yeah, exactly. I want to date a model that's 6 feet tall. Be 5'6" and 215 pounds doesn't help.
As long as you can reach when you.
Hey, when you're laying down, you're all the same size. Yeah. Two, I don't think he's going to come back. I think the Mets are smart enough to realize, hey, this can't happen. I have enough faith in this administration.
I don't have any faith in any of the Mets.
And as far as I want to expect
him back, what gives you faith in anything that the Mets do? Give me one thing.
I think Alderson and Collins are pretty intelligent people. This isn't Omar Minai who's just hiring people because they have a
Weren't his press conferences the best? Omar Minai's press conferences. I couldn't understand the word he said.
Remember when they signed J.J. Putz? This Putz thing came out of nowhere. You know what I'm saying? I have enough confidence that these are smart enough baseball guys, and they realize that Harvey means so much to this organization. Look, the Mets are not. They're not the Nationals who are ready to win now kind of team. So why are you going to rush it? You need to take the appropriate amount of time.
So you're thinking no fantasy relevance?
No, and I think he's not going to have any impact at all fantasy-wise until probably June of next season.
Wow. Okay. All right, let's move on, but stay in New York. Jacoby,
you don't want to talk about Bartolo Colon or Daisuke Matsuzaka?
And you have faith in the administration. with all the young kids.
Boy, that's you talk about a 360 there.
No, with all the young kids in college and in the minor leagues and stuff, everybody's so eager to play and practice and honing their craft in the entire world. The Mets can't find anybody but sending Matsuzaka out there. And all right, Cologne pitched pretty well last year, but how long is that going to continue?
Yeah, Daisuke 18-3 in 2008.
Yeah,
and since then he has 20 more wins than I do.
Yeah.
Okay, so
that's unbelievable.
Go figure that.
All right, Jacoby Ellsbury. He's not playing in his Grapefruit League game there because he's got calf issues. Now, they paid him $153 million for 7 years. First of all, I can't understand how you do that. Somebody's going to make their living primarily with their legs. And, it's not like he was 20 years old. No. But aside from that, it troubles me that he's already having nuisance nagging stuff because he's on that every other year thing. He's either an all-star or he's not in the lineup. And this is the not in the lineup year. So I know it's new team, but...
So the years you spent studying math and everything, this is the off year for Jacoby.
Whether it's odd or even, yeah. So this is odd year.
He's 31 years old now.
That's odd too. Yeah.
The good thing is that the Yankees have a plethora of outfielders, so they don't rely on him every day. They're not going to rely on him.
Yeah, but what if you own him? What if you own him from a fantasy standpoint, or you want to bid on him?
At least you want him healthy first. Number one, to know he's going to be healthy. And he could DH every.
So that doesn't bother you?
No, it doesn't, because they got Gardner in the outfield, they got Beltran, Soriano, and Suzuki. So this gives them a chance to rest every now and then. So you're going to have to really, bolster your outfield then if you're going to do this. So you're going to have to expect that he might miss some games here. But I think his power number is going to go up. I could see him teetering with 20 home runs this year.
20 home runs. I know it's a short.
He's going to score runs. Matt Cain, Teixeira. We'll see if he's back. You never know with this wrist injury.
So all right. So bottom line is, you think he'll be healthy?
I think he'll be healthy. Yes.
Okay. Right.
Look, he talked to Jack Curry from the New York Times yesterday. He said, "Look, if this was an April game, a May game, he would be starting." So I got to go by with what they say.
Okay. All right.
You never know, though.
All right. Anibal Sanchez received a cortisone shot in his right shoulder.
Not a good thing.
Not a good thing because he throws with that shoulder. Now, they've got 3 guys on their team that strike out guys like nobody's business. They got Sanchez, Max Scherzer, and Verlander. I don't like the fact that he's already getting a cortisone shot. I got one of those things one time, and it was as thick as this pencil. I'm surprised it pierced my skin. That was intimidating. So I don't know. That bothers me. Bothers me.
Anytime I hear cortisone, I get concerned. I think back to Donnie Moore, the great Angels right-handed reliever from the 80s who was ready to close out the Red Sox and go into the World Series.
Rest in peace.
If you hear all the interviews afterwards, his arm was dead. I mean, literally,
his arm was dead and he's dead.
Yeah, I mean, they shot him up with cortisone. He couldn't feel anything, but he wanted to win. Talking to relief pitchers, like I remember talking to Rob Dibble, cortisone, you're hurting, and it's basically
he was a free-spirited guy.
Yeah. Cortisone allows you to play over pain. Like normally, say I punch you in the arm, you're all bruised up. They shoot up your arm there. You could go out there and maybe throw a ball or something. problem about cortisone, it doesn't leave your body as well.
Where's it go?
It stays in your body, makes a home.
From gelatin.
It pays taxes and all that stuff. But right now, the Tigers expect he'll make his next start on Monday. So, and also catcher Brad Osmond said he wasn't concerned over him missing the start. And if it was a regular season game, he'd be ready to go.
All right, when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about some non-football stuff. We've got some Tiger Woods news and some NFL news to talk about. So we'll be back this week in Fantasy Baseball in just a minute.